Big update just in. 8 U.S. states have officially confirmed November food stamp payments, surprising millions across the country. But in many other states, people are still worried their benefits could disappear overnight. Are you one of the lucky ones getting paid next week? Let's find out right now before it's too late. Before we start, listen carefully. This channel is made only for you. If you depend on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, VA, or SNAP benefits, then you finally have a place where the truth lives. While others spread rumors and lies just to get views, we stand with you. Every update, every dollar, every promise that affects your life. So hit that subscribe button right now and join our family, because here we fight for you. If you or someone you care about relies on food stamps, also known as SNAP benefits, you need to pay close attention to this video. Something major is happening right now, and I'm going to explain it clearly so you know exactly what's going on. We'll cover the 8 states that just made a major commitment to deliver food stamp payments in November, and break down what this means for you and your family. Do you think it's fair that regular people have to worry about whether they can feed their families because of decisions made by politicians in Washington? What would be a better way to handle this? Let me start by explaining what's really going on here, because the headlines you see on the internet can be confusing and sometimes scary. The truth is that the United States government has been dealing with some pretty serious funding problems. When the government doesn't pass its budget on time, something called a shutdown happens. Think of it like a family business that runs out of money and has to close its doors for a while because there's no money coming in to pay the workers or the bills. That's basically what happens with the government. During a government shutdown, many essential programs lose access to the funding they rely on. And SNAP, the program that helps millions of Americans put food on the table, is one of them. Now imagine you're the governor of a state facing this problem. If you couldn't afford to give everyone their full SNAP benefits, what would you focus on first? Supporting food banks, providing emergency payments, or something else entirely? Now, SNAP is actually super important for a lot of people in this country. We're talking about over 42 million Americans who depend on this program to feed their families every single month. That's about 1 out of every 8 people in the United States. These are people with us who don't make quite enough money, seniors on fixed incomes, families with kids, people with disabilities, and many others who are working hard but still need a little extra help to put food on the table. SNAP is a safety net that helps these people maintain their dignity and feed their families with real nutrition and real food. Here's where things started to get complicated. When the government shut down, a major question arose. Would people still receive their SNAP benefits in November? With the federal government unable to guarantee funding, millions of families began to panic about how they'd afford groceries. Imagine waking up one morning unsure if you'll have enough to buy milk, bread, or vegetables for your kids. That's the kind of worry countless Americans were facing, and it was a very real, painful reality. But then something happened that gave a lot of people hope. 8 states stepped up and said they were going to help. They looked at this situation and said, we're not going to let our residents suffer, and we're going to make sure that people can buy food in November, even if the federal government can't promise that money right now. This was a big deal because it meant that even with all the federal uncertainty, at least some people would know they could buy groceries for their families. Let's talk about which states we're talking about here. The states that have said yes to helping with November food stamps include Virginia, Connecticut, Delaware, Kentucky, Louisiana, South Carolina, Colorado, and Minnesota. I do need to be upfront about something important. These states can't fully replace the federal SNAP program on their own. Doing so would cost billions of dollars, and most state budgets simply don't have that kind of cash available. What they are doing is setting up emergency programs, using state funds to support food banks, and helping some SNAP recipients as much as they can. Essentially, they're trying to fill the gap where the federal funding falls short. Think of it this way. Imagine you have a big hole in your roof and it starts raining. The federal government was supposed to send someone to fix the whole roof completely, but then they ran out of money and couldn't send anyone. So some states are like, well, we can't fix the entire roof ourselves, but we can bring you some buckets to catch the rain. and we can help you find a plumber who might be able to patch up the worst parts. It's not a perfect solution, but it's something, and it's better than nothing. So what does all of this mean for you and your family? If you're receiving SNAP benefits, the first thing to know is that any benefits already on your card from October don't just vanish. The funds you didn't use carry over into November. Think of it like money in your bank account. If you don't spend it, it stays there. You don't lose it just because a new month has begun. Any remaining balance on your EBT card from previous months is still yours to use. But here's what's really important. If the federal government's shutdown continues and new SNAP money isn't sent out for November, then new benefits might not show up on your card on the first of the month like they normally do. This is where it gets stressful for people because many families rely on getting that new money in November to buy groceries for the whole month. If it doesn't come on the first, it can be really hard for families who are living paycheck to paycheck. This is exactly why those 8 states decided to take action. They recognized that residents needed help and wanted to step in. Some states have launched special emergency programs. Others are partnering with food banks to ensure extra food is available. And some are finding ways to use state funds to help bridge the gap. Each state is taking different steps based on what they can afford and the resources they have on hand. So what should you do right now if you are concerned? The most important step is to check with your own state to see what they're doing. You might live in one of these 8 states or somewhere else, and each state could have a slightly different approach. The best way to find out what's happening in your state is to go to your state's Department of Human Services website or call your local SNAP office. These are the people who actually run the program in your area, and they will have the most accurate information about what's happening with November benefits in your specific state. When you contact your state office, you can ask them straight up, are November benefits going to be issued? If so, when? Are there any emergency programs I should know about? Is there anything I need to do right now to make sure my benefits don't get interrupted? These are all really good questions, and the people at your state office should be able to answer them. They deal with this stuff every day, and they want people to get their benefits too. Here's another key point to keep in mind. Even if you live in one of the 8 states stepping in to help, it's still crucial to make sure your SNAP application is current and up to date. During uncertain times like a government shutdown, paperwork can get delayed or mishandled. You want to be certain all your information is accurate and your application is in good standing. If you've been considering applying for SNAP, or if your benefits are about to expire, now is a smart time to take care of it. Even amid the uncertainty of what comes next, I also want to mention something about food banks, because they are becoming really important right now. Food banks are places where you can go and get free food. A lot of people don't realize how helpful food banks can be, and they sometimes feel shy about going there. But here's the truth. Food banks exist for exactly this kind of situation. They're designed to help people when there's a gap between their resources and their needs. If you're worried about November and you want to have some backup food, going to a food bank is a smart thing to do. You can search online for food banks in your area, or you can call 211, which is a helpline that can tell you where your nearest food bank is and what hours they're open. I also want to highlight some additional resources that could help. Across the country, community assistance programs, religious organizations, and nonprofits offer support to people who need help putting food on the table. Some of these groups may even have special programs running right now because of the shutdown. A quick online search or a call to 211 can connect you to these resources. And remember, there's absolutely no shame in using them. These programs exist because society believes everyone deserves access to food. Now, I want to address something that a lot of people are confused about. When we talk about these 8 states saying yes to November food stamps, what we're really talking about is these states trying to help their residents during a federal funding crisis. It's not that SNAP is going away forever, and it's not that the federal government has decided to end the program. It's a temporary situation caused by a budget crisis in Washington. In other words, these states are stepping up and saying, even though Washington is facing challenges, we'll do our best to support our residents through this difficult period. That's encouraging because it shows state leaders genuinely care about the people they serve. The reason I'm explaining all of this is because I want you to understand that while the situation is serious and worth paying attention to, It's not something that should make you feel hopeless or scared. There are people working on this, including governors and state officials who are taking it seriously. There are food banks and community organizations ready to help. There are phone lines you can call and websites you can visit to get information. You're not alone in this, and there are resources available to you. Here's a quick action plan for what to do right now. First, once you finish watching this video, go to your state's Department of Human Services website or look up your state's SNAP office. Make sure to write down their phone number and website address. Second, either give them a call or check their website for any updates about November benefits. They should have clear, up-to-date information on what's happening. Third, if you're concerned about a gap in your benefits, start researching food banks and community resources in your area. Go ahead and call 211 to find out what's available. Fourth, make sure your SNAP application is up to date and that your personal information is correct. This is important because it helps make sure your benefits flow smoothly. Finally, I want to say this. If you're getting SNAP benefits, you should never feel ashamed about it. This program is there to help people, and there are millions of people using it right now. Teachers use it, nurses use it, veterans use it, seniors use it. People are working jobs and still using SNAP because wages haven't kept up with the cost of living. This is a normal part of our social safety net, and using it means you're taking care of yourself and your family. You're doing the right thing by making sure you understand what's happening and by taking action to protect yourself and your loved ones. The bottom line here is that 8 states have stepped up during a difficult time to help their residents. They're not able to completely solve the problem, but they're doing what they can. You need to take action by finding out exactly what's happening in your state and making sure you have a plan. Contact your state office, explore local food banks and community resources, and confirm that your benefits are up to date. This is a situation that requires your attention and initiative, but it's also one where help is available if you know where to look. Remember, you and your family deserve to eat. This isn't political or controversial. It's simply a matter of basic human dignity. So take the time to check that information, make those calls, and take care of yourself. You've got this, and there are people and resources ready to support you every step of the way.